Hello, government shutdown. How government shutdown 2023 could impact you and your family here on a special episode of the Kizzy News Network. I'm here at a signature lounge awaiting a flight, but I had to hop on because we are hours away to a potential government shutdown. And I want to put some things in perspective. One, this is not a time for fear. The more information one has, then the less fearful you are. That's why I'm on here. When we don't have a lot of information, when we don't have options, we become fearful. That's how it operates. Keep in mind, in 2018 to 2019, during the previous administration, the government was shut down for a total of 34 days, y'all. 34 days. And thank you everyone for being here. McKinney, Iron Body, thank you both. In 2013, during the Obama administration, the government was shut down for 16 days. When that happened, it occurred like right after we won our first $4 million 8A set aside. It was like, yay, we won. Oh, the government shut down? What does that mean? So that's why I'm here today. How this could impact you. Number one, if you have any loved ones, or perhaps you work for the federal government and you're pursuing federal government contracting or state and local contracting on the side, if you are deemed non-essential, you will not be paid during the shutdown. You won't be paid. And in case you see me looking down, I have some notes, so please don't think I'm multitasking as I'm doing this, okay? It's not how we operate on the Kizzy News Network. This is the number one source for all news for us small business owners in the government contracting space, okay? So what will happen is, for those of you who you work for the federal government, or perhaps your loved one works for the federal government, you will receive the back pay, okay? So again, if you, a loved one, friends, family, you work for the federal government and you're deemed non-essential, you will not be paid. But once they pass the continuing resolution, then you will be paid. Basically, there's 12 different spending bills that lawmakers need to figure out and pass. Right now, they're at this point in time where there's this conflict. In case you're wondering, why is this happening? Well, you have Republicans who want more control over our southern borders. They either want to cease funding to Ukraine or to at least reduce the funding. And then on top of it, we're coming up upon an election year. So this is like the moment in sports where it's like a champion, like it may be the Eastern Conference Finals or a division finals, and somebody's just like dunking the ball in other players' faces, or they're just like doing these little things just to like kind of get at the other team, as David Goggins would say, to take their soul. I'm not suggesting or downplaying the importance of either one of these issues. I'm just letting you know this is further elevated because it is an election year. What's the best way to get voters' attention? Oh, see, we had to shut down the government. If we shut down the government, we'll be able to cease the bleeding. It's better to shut down the government than to continue on this, path. Now, this is something that both political parties do. The government was shut down numerous times during the Carter administration, 78, 77, 79, 77, 77. It was shut down during the Clinton administration, and it was shut down in 76 during the Ford administration. So, knowing all of this, let me go into further about what this means. So, right now, agencies have money until the end of September. That's why this last quarter is so important. It's the fourth quarter of the fiscal year of the federal government. So, it's like we got to spend, spend, spend. We got to go wild. We got to spend. We got to do all of these things, right? Because the new fiscal year begins 1 October. So, if a bill or continuing resolution hasn't been passed, giving funding for them to operate until the next time they decide to conquer these 12 different spending bills to fund agencies across the government, that it's like game over. What that means is if someone is deemed essential, whether they're a contractor or a government employee or military member, they will go on as business as usual. And of course, you have things like air traffic control, probably cyber commands that we don't even know about that are deemed essential, right? Things like the national park, you're going to see those signs, which you may recall from several years ago, where it says, let's see if I found one online. Because of the federal government shutdown, all national parks are closed. And then you would see a sign like that. So how this impacts you is if you're not deemed essential, if you have a friend, family, or loved one who works for the federal government, who's in the military, they may not get their pay. Again, it's going to, they're going to receive back pay, but it depends on how long does this last. I mean, during the Trump administration, it lasted 34 days. 34 days. That's longer than a month. That's a long time. It was definitely the longest one of all of the shutdowns. The shortest one was during the Clinton administration for 5 days. Okay. So things to keep in mind. So here are some things that I suggest that you do, because you may wonder, well, what do I do? How do I go about handling this? Because at the end of the day, this is something that we really don't have in our immediate control. You have some control if you vote or you believe in voting or you're registered to vote, because we vote for our different representatives and senators. That aside, we can't change that. We can't change the fact that it's an election year. So what's important is just coming to terms with this is something that happens. It's like knowing there's hurricanes. If you live anywhere near an ocean, you're subject to a hurricane. You know, I bet many people in New York probably thought, oh my gosh, we'll never have a hurricane. And they did. Remember Hurricane Sandy? So here at the Kizzy News Network, we're here to help you and empower you so you are at ease and at peace with what's happening with the federal government and this looming shutdown and how it impacts you and your family. It could impact you and your family. So one is, and it's awesome because I see some notes here, and I'm going to take a look at all of your comments in a section. In a second, I'm waiting for my flight. I'm here at the Signature Lounge, and so I have jets in front of me, and so I'm just checking in case John comes early. So, point is this: I see that Maserati boss, he just got his cage, or Maserati just got their cage code, right? So for those of you who don't have a cage code, maybe you're at the process where you're like, I don't even know what that is. Maybe you're at the process of, oh, I have my UEI, or maybe you're at the process where you're trying to just sort it all out. It will be slowed. The government has to identify essential workers, essential team members, mission critical on both the government and on the contractor side. So if there's a team of 50 who's managing cage codes and they only deem 3 of them to be essential, that's a lot of work for 3 people, right? It's a lot of work. So something to keep in mind. For those of you who have a cage code, for you, those of you who are like, I've heard you, bid, because you know, Kizzy News Network, we want to make sure you're not only empowered with this being the number one source for all federal government contracting news for small businesses, but also with what to do. So you're like, okay, I'm bidding, now what? Well, you want to continue to bid because some agencies or many agencies will have employees, right? They'll have government employees, they'll have contractors because they're deemed essential. So they're still going to need to vet opportunities. Doesn't mean you stop bidding. Here's what it does mean. Maybe it takes them longer to review the bids. Maybe a bid you submitted in September, you're not going to hear back for some time. This is where patience comes in. With the federal government, patience is huge. It is super huge. Because without patience, all you're going to do is just run yourself into a tornado. You're like Tasmanian devil. Because we don't have control over any of this. The only thing we have control over is ourself. So continue to bid, have patience, because what if the contracting officer isn't deemed essential? You know, so next thing is you want to ask questions. If there are bids that maybe you won or you think you're going to win or you're still waiting to find out what are they doing, call and email them. Hey, I'm just following up. I know it seems very likely that the government's going to shut down in a couple of days. I mean, literally. I'm just curious, how does that impact the bid I won? How does this impact the opportunity I bid on? How does this impact the contract I currently have? Be open with them. And I have a bonus strategy here at Kizzy News Network. And my name is Dr. Kizzy Parks. I've won over $50 million in federal government contracts for those of you who are new or you just don't know who I am. Bonus strategy, if any of you are receiving funding from Section 8 program or programs like that, just contact your point of contact so that you know what to expect. Because now is the time. They're still at work. I received an email for a price quote, and the person literally said, please send this before Friday. Like, send this as soon as possible. Because if they're shut down, chances are this point of contact is probably not going to be mission critical. So don't wait until the government shut down. Now what do I do? No, you want to take care of this now. It's best to be proactive. Okay. So you want to find out. Now, if you find out, hey, don't worry about it, you're mission critical. Oh, great. Continue on as business as normal and inform your team. If you've been informed, hey, we're going to have to issue you a stop work notice, it means exactly what I just said. You stop working because you're not going to get paid. So if you say, well, I'm going to do it anyways, well, you're going to do it for free. So don't do that. So what happens is the next step is you have to furlough your team. So I let key team members know that if there's a shutdown, basically everyone at my company will be furloughed because the revenues that come in also impact my non-billable people. So everyone will be furloughed. Will they receive back pay? Not if they're considered, if they're not mission critical because they're not working. I'm not getting paid. So how am I going to pay them? That's the decision I make. Every single business owner is different. The decision you make is your decision. This is the decision I make. I have gone through several of these, right? I started out in 08, 28 forever. And so I dealt with dealing with Obama and with Trump administration. And we were able to work through them, and it is what it is, okay? Because it's not something we have control over. I'm going to take some questions for those of you who joined, and I appreciate you being here. This is a special episode all about government shutdown, how it could impact you and your family. Kizzy News Network. So thank you all for your kind words. I love that Iron Body Sensei talked about having a plan B. I know there's some of you that are like, hey, I just started. Where do I begin? Get a cage code, bid, bid, bid. You have to have sales. If you sell one bottle of water, that's amazing. Is that a company? Is that a business? No. If you want it to be a hobby, that's cool. But bid, bid, bid. Okay. Throw long bombs. Okay, got it. No money and blame shift. Yep, that's right. Curls are popping. That's right. The curls are popping, you know. I got an email from the GSA for a 5-year contract. They say I'm missing a capability statement. What does it mean? Maserati boss, it sounds like you received an email from a vendor who's trying to sell you something. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, listen, y'all, I'm all about Kizzy News Network supports capitalism, because don't forget we have the Kizzy Shopping Network on Sunday evenings. So just if you're not in my Facebook group, just post a link in the Facebook group. It's probably a company trying to sell you something, okay? So if you bear with me, I'll get the link to my Facebook group. Because as I started out by saying, this is impromptu. I am in the middle of flying from Chicago back to Michigan for my birth mom's birthday. And so because of everything going on with the shutdown, I'm like, I have to get out there. I got to tell the people. I got to make sure everybody's aware here at the Kizzy News Network about the government shutdown and how it could impact you and your family. It definitely impacts your family if this is what pays your bills. And if it's government contracting, your payment could be delayed. That's the other piece of this. Even if you're deemed mission critical, how about the people who process your invoices? Are they going to be mission critical? Are they there? So your payment may be delayed. Just something to keep in mind. And these are people who work there. So normally I don't like putting people in the background. So I don't know who that was, and I'm sure he's a lovely person. Okay. So Maserati boss, look into that. I have to see who sent you that. What if we have awards pending? Dave Foster, the sacred and savage space. They're not going to cancel them. They're just going to be a bit delayed. This is why this is perfect opportunity to be proactive. So if you've been awarded something, if you think you're going to be awarded something, be proactive, call and email. And this brings me to another point about government shutdown 2023 and how it could impact you and your family. Having a strong relationship with your government point of contact is vital, because then that helps make sure and ensure that you are always mission critical, so that if a shutdown is looming, you don't even have to worry about what's going to happen, because you already know, because you've already talked about it. You talked about it way before it even came up. And then, of course, you talked about it again and again. So how you do that is you over-deliver. Whatever it is you're doing, you over-deliver. You stay in contact with them. You get in the family photos. You want them to see you as an extension of the federal government. That's what you want. Because it's hard to cut somebody who's an extension of the federal government because you're so invaluable. Otherwise, it's like, oh, we have a cleaning. Yeah, cut that cleaning contract. Nobody need to come in here and clean. We ain't going to be here anyways. Like, that's easy. You don't want that. You want someone to be like, oh my gosh, man, I love Maserati boss's cleaning company. And I'm just going to make it essential. That's what you want. You want them to kind of have this, oh, I can't lose them. No. You know how we are with credit cards, right? No, I can't not have a credit card. I can't cut it up. You know, you want them to be addicted to you. how we are with artificial ingredients. Okay, so Iron Body Sensei, you're applying for a joint venture. That's terrific. Don't forget, if you do something like that, you're going to need to create a new business name. You have to get a tax ID. You have to have a physical address. You have to put it into SAM to get a UEI and a cage code. And most importantly, make sure that the WOSB, Woman-Owned Small Business, is actually certified as a woman-owned small business. Now, I have a question for everyone here, because the Kizzy News Network is interactive, right? We're special. We're not just here to dump information in your faces. And we're impartial. I'm here to share it, share the news, provide some commentary. Would you like an update on the 8A program? If you want an update on the 8A program, type update here in the live chat, or if you're watching the replay, type update, please. Dominique, I want to say thank you for being so professional. The other creators be so rude and wondering why no one is buying their courses. Thanks, girl, for being you. No, Dominique, thank you. Thank you for being here. And thank each and every one of you. I provide more value than anyone else in this space. Period. JT City Girls. Nothing else to say. And I'm going to keep doing that. Because I was just like each and every one of you. That's all I can say. I have government contracts. I have to deal with the shutdown. It impacts me too. The vast majority of my income comes from government contracting. So I'm not over here just sharing because I took some courses at the SBA or I won like several hundreds of thousands of dollars in contracts, which is still amazing. And then now I'm an expert. One thing that I really like that Alex Hormozy talks about, and I love what you all, that you're engaged with me, and I'm going to give you that 8A update here in a second. One thing that I love that Alex Hormozy talks about, and I highly suggest following him if you don't already. Alex Hormozy, he had this tweet or X post about just because you make $10,000 a month, I think he said, like, flipping real estate or selling or Airbnbs. He's like, it doesn't mean you now have to sell a course. So it's like, for me, this is part of my journey because so many people are given misinformation and I learned so much from having a mentor. That's why there are things that I do offer for sale. I mean, I'm a capitalist. That's how I am. But that's not why I do this. I didn't start doing this because I thought, oh, Kizzy News Network, Kizzy Shopping Network, my YouTube, going on LinkedIn. Oh, let me get them money. Like, no. There's easier ways. I mean, shoot. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all now. Let me, if I looked like a Black China or my model friend, Jungle Johanna, I would be on OnlyFans so fast. I'm just letting you know I would be. But so I hope you got some giggles out of that. So for those of you who voted and are patient with yours truly, that's another person to follow, Jungle Johanna. She's amazing. She teaches Pilates, yoga. She is a model. She's amazing. Follow her on Instagram. And here's why I mention that. One way to have peace of mind that when you look at, oh my gosh, government contract, I mean, the government shutting down, how's it going to impact me, my family? When you have that peace of mind through your health and wellness and your spiritual grounding, all of this, it's just an inconvenience. It's not like a panic. It's not like the thing above my head, like going off. You know, if that went off, it would be like, oh my gosh, you guys, I got to go, right? And that's how for some government shutdown and different things are for them. And one way to help ease that is by having that overall wellness. So this is success in life, in my opinion, and we believe here at the Kizzy News Network, is more than just financial success. You have to have health and wellness. If you have all the money in the world and your health is horrible, then you're going to die soon. Okay. So that's a little morbid. I know. Okay, so the 8A, hot 8A update. So if you recall, Ultima Services Corp., and I'm just looking down to look at my notes, y'all, looking at my notes. Ultima Services Corp. filed a case against the U.S. Department of Agriculture. This was, I think they filed it in 2020, something like that. Okay, it was a while ago. Ultima Services Corp., they had several contracts, like millions and millions and millions of dollars with the USDA. They are also a woman-owned small business. All of a sudden, the contracts were moved into the 8A program. What's up, Grand Rapids? Yeah, I'm flying into there. And so, and I'm on Central Time right now. So in case some of you are like, I thought you said you're leaving at noon. It is noon. I'm on Central Time. So point is, the owner said, hey, I'm unable to compete for these set-asides because I don't meet the requirement to be an 8A. And for whatever reason, she never looked into forming a joint venture. Just sharing, right? So there was a hearing August 31st, and out of that came that the SBA ended up halting applications. They also said, hey, for those of you who have an 8A, you're going to need to write a narrative explaining how you've been social economically disadvantaged. And they also, further want to emphasize, shut off the application for new businesses trying to get the 8A. Okay. And I might be a little off on that August 31st date. It might have happened a little sooner. Okay. So just want to let you know that this was an impromptu. Okay. So what ended up happening is on, I got it. The previous stuff happened before. I think it was in July. Then they had the case on the 31st. Thank you all for being flexible with me in my memory and my notes. Then on the 1st of September, the district court for the Eastern District of Tennessee states that there are 2 issues that remain with the case, which is why the 8A application process is still stopped, right? So Ultima requested for an injunction. Pay attention to this. Precluding the federal government from reserving administrative and technical support. That's that admin code, the 5-4 code, with the National Resources Conservation Service. That's a division within the USDA with 8A, SBA 8A programs. So basically they're saying, no, you all can no longer set aside admin contracts for 8A. That's what they're basically asking for, Ultima Services, which I think is extremely dangerous. And I just don't really understand why. Of all of the NAICS codes, this is the NAICS code you want to go after. And then the other item is the SBA's compliance with the district court's prior injunction. And that injunction involves the narrative. So here's what I foresee is going to happen. 1, the narrative will become permanent. As we move into the election year, who knows what else will happen? Other things could not happen. This request about this particular NAICS code, I don't know. I could see that they may go along with it just to take care of everything and resume business as normal. Either way, Ultima Services, they have a brief due by 15 September, which has already gone by. And then the government's brief is due 29 September, which is perfect because what is that? Right before the potential government shutdown. And then Ultima's reply to the government is due 5 October. So when it comes to the 8A program, there are some things going back and forth. Here's, Ultima, no more setting aside the admin for the 8A program, that NAICS code, don't want it to happen. and we want you to comply with the injunction. So the government, they have until 29 September to provide their brief. I suspect before the end of the year, the calendar year, here at Kizzy News Network, firmly believe we will have more information as far as what's going to happen with the 8A program. I suspect they're going to reopen applications. They're going to reopen applications. They will make the changes that they need to make. So for those of you who you're like, listen, I'm at the point in my career or in my business where you know the 8A program is going to take you to the next level, keep an eye out. Because you have Alaskan Native and you have Native Hawaiian concerns or own businesses. These are businesses that tend to be billion-dollar businesses, and then they can spawn off 8As until they die. I think it's really interesting that Altima never brought that up. She's concerned about one, or they're concerned about one NAICS code, but you're not concerned about this? Curious, right? If I have a billion-dollar business, what am I doing? Paying for lobbyists, paying politicians, paying to keep being a billion-dollar business, aren't I? So this 8A program's not going to go anywhere. It's not. There's too much money out there. Here's the other thing that's interesting is there's like fewer than 5,000 companies who have an 8A. So that's something else to be aware of. This is not like an iPhone. How many people have an iPhone? Probably a lot. I mean, I would think millions have an iPhone. I mean, I'm into Shiba Inu. Crypto is a token, right? I think there's like 1 million holders of Shiba Inu. So imagine, this is something that probably most of you have never even heard of, and there's 1 million of us who have it. And here's an 8A program, which it often seems like, oh, so many people have it, and fewer than 5,000 do. So that's the nitty-gritty on the 8A program. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the questions. So bidding on a contract, getting a quote for rugs. I wish you a lot of luck. That's awesome. Ruthie, I have 2 trucks. I do import, export, and I slow right now with like extra income. You get into government contracting by going to sam.gov, you get a cage code, and you have to bid on opportunities. What's really important is that you sell to the government in the way that they want to buy. So when it comes to trucking, you know, the opportunities I've come across are moving furniture, moving documents. So take a look on sam.gov. Here's the other thing. Even with government shutdown and how it can impact you and your family, the websites aren't going to go anywhere. You're not going to go on sam.gov and get like shut down. You're not going to get something like that. Like they're going to still be functioning. So just keep that in mind too. Bryant, thank you. Got a cage code in 5 days because of you. What's the basic things? Everything you should have as a government contractor: LinkedIn, registration, what type of payment tools. Congrats on getting that cage code in 5 days. I also want to share my Facebook group. I would love for you all to be a part of it. We're getting close to having 6,000 members. Also, please, I always forget to say this, hit the notification button, hit the like button, hit the share button for this live today on government shutdown, how it could impact you and your family. The things that you want to do, number one, be really aware of what it really means if and when the government shuts down. That's first and foremost, because this is always a possibility every time at this point of the year, because they need a continuing resolution. You have politics at play. So just keep that in mind. Number two, you want to make sure that you are well aware of what the federal government is buying. The easiest way is you go on sam.gov, advanced search, select set aside small business. When it goes into the product area, you type in one of your NAICS code, bam. You can see what they're buying. Because what's key is, are you willing to sell to the government the way in which they're trying to buy it? So my background is training and development. we train food inspectors. I didn't start out training food inspectors. There are some people out there that are like, oh, Dr. Parks, I only provide leadership training. Okay, well, how much leadership training can you sell to the federal government? Right? That's why Amazon sells everything. You can only sell so many, actually, the water's not the great example, so many books, right? You have to expand. Even Barnes and Nobles has other things. So they have puzzles and games and mugs, and they have that Starbucks setup that's not a real Starbucks, but it's a Starbucks. Yeah, I don't even know what that's all about. So that's what's important. To qualify for the 8A certification, do you have to have completed a government contract? No. I'm doing my registration. I'm not sure of the question that I'm answering. Okay, Jerry. So, Jerry, I have videos on my channel all about how to register for a cage code. So check out those videos, okay? Maserati Guru, according to FAR 10, officers are required to take advantage of commercially available market methods in order to effectively identify the capabilities. Okay, I mean, yes, I mean, a capability. So I'm assuming Maserati, this is in reference to, there was somebody who asked about a capability and a GSA 5-year contract, things like that. Or maybe that's one and the same. Maybe you talked about that. So yes, there's capabilities and capability briefs, but when the government shut down, nobody's going to want to talk to you. If they're not mission critical, they're not working. So what's important is after the government passes their budget or the continuing resolution, if you want to market to them, very similar to a product demo, for those of you with a sales background. I was wondering, that's not John. I'm waiting for a flight for those of you who are just joining. I'm here at the Signature Lounge in Chicago area. So the way it works is you create a capability. It's a one-pager. It can literally be one page or 2 pages. It has your contact information, your core areas, your NAICS codes, your past performance. You can list your employers if you don't have anybody else, your UEI, CAGE, things like that. Mention that you take government credit cards. And what you do during this capability brief is you talk about what you do, but most importantly, you ask them questions. You know, I have 2 trucks. I've been in the trucking business for 10 years now. My name is Ruthie. I'm just giving an example using Ruthie's comment. And it's like, you know, I noticed on your site, I noticed on sam.gov that you do have some trucking opportunities. Do you have trucking opportunities for small businesses? What do you foresee? What kind have you executed in the past? What do you look for in a small business? Would you really work with a newer government contractor like me? You know, why do you like working at this agency? How long have you worked at this agency? So it's you talking about what you've done is about 30%. You asking questions is 70%. Because nobody wants to sit there and just hear, oh, la, 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 I'm so great. Now, there are these elevated formal capability briefs where they want slides, and you definitely talk more about what you do. But even when you get to that point, it's at a story level. So it's a situation, action, result. It's not like, I'm so great. I've been in business for 20 years. We won 10 awards. My team loves me. We're great. Okay, next. Nobody wants that. Here at Kizzy News Network, we're here to keep it real because we're the #1 source for all government contracting news for us small business owners, right? So it's, hey, here's situation. I have 2 trucks. For the past 3 months, we've worked with companies like XYZ, and we were able to take care of this load for them. They thought it was going to take 5 days. We were able to do it in 4 days. There was a sleet storm and a wild pack of dogs and a hurricane, and my team made it work, and we were on budget and on time, and this is how we operate. That's what we want. That's what they want. When I say we, it's human beings. We like stories. You know, it's not a coincidence. One thing I love about Signature Lounge, I always have these great free magazines. So this one's called Jet Set and has Kevin Hart on the front. His autobiography is one of the best books I've ever read. And he's so great at telling stories. I mean, yeah, he's a comedian, but some comedians, they're not the best at storytelling. I love his storytelling. Like, I still remember stories from his book, like the story when his dad took, I think it was him and his brother, or maybe just him out like on a boat. And like, I think the dad stole the boat. And I think the dad let Kevin drive the boat. And so it's just like these stories about his mother, his dad, like how he was forced to go to swimming and he sucked so much, but everybody else was so great. And they were like one of the first groups of Black men to go forward in swimming for some competition. It's like, we love that. It's not about Kevin Hart, whether you like him or not. It's the story. That's what we hang on to when it comes to things of life. We love the story. So the same thing goes when you're engaging with the federal government. And that's also why, to help ensure that you are considered mission critical anytime there's a potential shutdown, is that story. Them knowing your story, you knowing their story. It's key. Because if you're just, oh, they're just a vendor, transactional, then who cares who provides my water? It's just water. I mean, I could just go in the bathroom and get a cup. I mean, I haven't my teacup here. I could just put some water in this, right? Actually, and then they even have a machine here for water. I don't care where I get the water. I just don't want it to be in a puddle, some like Naked and Afraid puddle. Then I get sick and they have to take me out. You don't want that. You want them to be like Ice Mountain. This is the only water for me. I'm not sponsored by Ice Mountain. It's just what they had here at Signature Lounge. The point is, that's what you want. And the way to that is stories and relating. Research has shown, there's some really great research out there that has shown the more that you share with people, the more that they get to know you in that fashion, then the stronger that bond is. I'm not saying you have to share like your deepest, darkest secrets, right? But especially because I can feel it. There's a couple of you that are like, this is business. I'm not going to share anything. Okay, then. So, but when you share some things, it humanizes you. It humanizes you. So I'm going to take a look at some other questions. I'm going to start packing up soon because I think John might be here shortly. I'm going to check my text message in case he's okay. Great. This is awesome. Thank you. Yes, King, very good with your words. Yes, Christopher, utilizing your time wisely. Yes, definitely important. Jerry, thank you. I will go. Just found you. Joined your Facebook group. Awesome. Thanks. But watch your video on getting your cage code. Yes, Maserati Boss. Yes, yes, yes. Please do. If anybody has that link, just put it in there. I may go grab it. I didn't want to grab it and then I leave it. I know. Maybe it's just me. Okay. Bidding on it. Yep. Got it. Okay, cool. If you have any questions, let me know. Let me grab this from my YouTube page and this being the link to how to get your cage code. I want to give a shout out to you, MD. I'm glad that you're here. I adore you. And Madi, I'm glad that you're bidding. Keep bidding. Just because there's a potential shutdown, it doesn't mean that all the impact has to be negative. How it impacts you and your family, it could be positive. Because a lot of people, they're going to freak out. They're going to be, as if that went off. They're going to be crazy. Oh my God, we got furlough everybody. Right? And you're like, oh, I watched Kizzy News Network. And I like Kizzy Shopping Network on Sundays. I don't know what to expect. So you bid. Other people may be freaked out or say, screw it, I'm not going to do government contracting. See, I knew I shouldn't have done this. I should have done Amazon shopping or whatever. So this is a great opportunity because people are going to be freaked out. They're not going to want to bid. So this is a great opportunity to do it. And you don't need a set aside because we already have one as a small business. There's so much work you can win as a small business. There's a gentleman who I mentor and he won $500,000 in 3 months with his small business set aside. Now he has a hub zone. Now he's in the middle of getting his 8A. Now he's in the middle of forming, well, we formed one, a joint venture together, because that's one of the benefits for those who work with me. But the point is getting the work before, because the set asides only help you once you understand the game. Okay. So I'm going to pull up this, the video. So just give me 1 second so I can share this, and make sure you like, you subscribe, you hit that notification button. And also, as a bonus, please check out profitablecontracts.co/free. Since we talked about capability statements, you can create a free capability. There's 2 downloads. One outlines what you should put into your one pager, and then the other one is just a template you can use. Also, if it's not for you, you can pay somebody on Fiverr. You can create one in Canva. You can have your brother, cousin, whomever do it for you. What's important is you have an option. That's what's important. That's all that's important, y'all. It doesn't have to look like $1 million. It doesn't have to look like it was designed by like the best graphic designer in the world. It just has to have the basic information. So I shared the link, so that should suffice and give any one of you who are looking to work on get your cage code, check out that link. Thank you all for joining the Facebook group. There's a question: father, civil engineer, very adept. How can I utilize him, get contracts? Well, I mean, is your dad entrepreneurial? Does he really want to be leveraged? And why is it that you want to leverage your father? Are you trying to get engineering contracts? Like, this is not a ping with you, King A. These are, okay, cool. Thanks, Maserati. So these are questions that I pose anytime somebody brings up on whether it's Kizzy News Network or another location, is why? Whether it's, hey, my dad is a vet, or my mom, one of my woman owned, or my mom is a vet, or my cousin's a vet. So it's subcontract. Okay. So then if you feel comfortable winning civil engineering related subcontracts, then by all means, if that's what you want to do. So then what I suggest is you make sure you have your cage code, go on sam.gov and look for civil engineering contracts that may meet what you're looking for. I have found, at least with engineering contracts, the ones that I've come across, I haven't come across all of them, but some that I've come across, usually they want people to do the thing on site at the government agency. So for instance, we're on a qualified vendor list with the FAA, and they're going to hire a bunch of engineers. So these would be people who would perform engineering services at one of their air traffic control locations. So if that's the case, where does your father fit in with that? Is he a project manager? Is it that he can help vet the people as you select them and you go through their resumes? So these are some things to think about, because what's key is selling to the government the way in which they buy. My favorite flowers. I have all different kinds of flowers that I love. Right now, I've been buying a lot of pink and purple roses in Michigan. I have them waiting for me. They should still be kicking when I get back. Can you tell us the link for the capability? Yes, and I'll put it here too. It is profitablecontracts.co/free. So I'll put this here. And then also, for any of you who haven't purchased my book, GovCon Winners, winnerswaybook.com, winnerswaybook.com. I am putting the finishing touches on that. So I appreciate y'all's patience as we finalize that and get that published because it will be mailed out. You get free bonuses because you pre-order. So everything is a pre-order. Hi, Earl. I'm glad you're here. Cage code is very easy, but reading and understanding contracts are the meat and potatoes. Maserati boss said it's true. That's why having a mentor is important. To have someone, to have a source, whether it's YouTube, it's a paid mentor, it's something you download, because what's most important is this. You take the information and you act on it. You take the information and you act on it. You take the information and you act on it. Period. JT City Girls. We love the City Girls here at the Kizzy News Network. Just put that out there. Okay, tons of construction contracts. That's great. Would like him to vet the vendors to get my family involved. Okay, so that's great, King. So look for opportunities to vet vendors and to vet potential employees you would have. Got that. He already has the reps, the certs, and experience. Okay, great. Chop wood, carry water, great book. Okay, awesome. So Christopher recommended Chop Wood, Carry Water. Definitely look into that. Madi put don't quit. That's true. Don't quit. I have a couple in my coaching program, and they've been with me probably a little less than a year. And when they first started out, and I actually interviewed Anna. I like saying both as Anna. But I interviewed her, and her interview will be released shortly. And when they first started out, they were dead set on IT. And I, shared with them some techniques, and they slowly learned that, and they became comfortable with. That's what's most important, what you're comfortable with. You know what? We're going to need to look into another area. So they won their very first contract for services because they've sold products to the government. When they joined with me, they had contracts, but never for services. So I'm really proud of them for doing that. They won a janitorial contract. The best way, Jerry, is to get into my Facebook group. I do offer a 5-day challenge. We have one every month. I just want to let you all know because people are asking about October. I'm not really sure of the dates because I will probably be in Mexico. So that's kind of the deal with that. I have VIP and executive, but I'm a VIP, always better kind of person. So I only share the VIP link. If you want the executive link, you're going to have to email Melody. Melody is my ops lead. So, okay. What's up, Melody? See, look at that. I mentioned Melody and she writes in there. So again, I appreciate every single one of you being here. Government shutdown, how it can impact you and your family. The more you know, the better position you are in. Don't get too swayed by the news. Don't get caught up with politics. Remember, the only person you can control is yourself. So with that said, work on getting your cage code, continue to bid, be proactive. If you've responded to solicitations, if you're waiting for awards to be made, contact them. Hey, did you make an award? Do you plan on making an award? How will this all be impacted by the potential shutdown? If you have an award, be prepared to potentially furlough your team unless you're deemed mission essential. If you or a loved one, you work for the federal government and you're not deemed mission essential or critical, then chances are you're not going to get paid and you'll receive the back pay when when the budget, the continuing resolution is passed. Okay. So there's so many NAICS codes. What interests me? Okay. Well, the best thing is to take the NAICS codes and put them in sam.gov so you can see what the government's buying. You can use as many NAICS codes you want. April, my father invented a woodworker's hand tool. I don't really know, April, if you would have to find out, do they have a need for it? Like, in general, do they have a need for it? Like energy drinks, right? It's a whole huge industry, right? Like Logan Paul has the Prime drink. it's becoming, do we really, at the end of the day, do we have a need for energy drinks? Do we need an energy drink to sustain life on this planet? I mean, some of you may say yes. I mean, really, no, right? But a need has been created. And while you have the Red Bulls and whoever else is out there, Prime fits in. It's a different packaging. It's cool. It's kind of got that look and feel of a Gatorade, but it's not. Then you have these personalities larger than life that so many love. And then they're kind of targeting these tweens and young people, all of that. So they're now getting a share of that market because the market was there, the need was there. It was just, hey, let's rebrand and do something different. So for woodworkers, hand tool, who in the federal government would need something like that? That's who you have to figure out. Who is that person? Who are those people? What are they currently using? Why would they use yours over what they're using? That would be good for you. Okay. And this also relates to everything else. Like if it's, you have some patented medical product, same kind of thoughts apply. Does the government care where the finances come from? As in, I have a family member that can support me with a credit card. I mean, is for you to buy the product or service, they don't care. They would have no knowledge of that. Just like Amazon, or, I mean, if it came out that Jeff Bezos was getting money from Irv Gotti, I don't think people would really care too much. I just want my package. Okay, good. So I love all of your comments. I'm putting the link in here. I'm going to go because I have a feeling John will be here shortly. I didn't see him get in here just yet, but I do have to take care of my stuff before I hop on the plane for an hour and get to Michigan. So again, keep going, everyone. Don't give up. All this is just part of the journey. That's all this is. I'm in Facebook jail. I cannot comment. Okay, Facebook jail with like with Facebook jail. If you're in Facebook jail, Earl, then can you send a DM? Like, can you DM me? Maybe you do that. Are digital certificates a must to get contracts? Not at all. And I'm assuming, Maserati, are you speaking to the digital certificate that you would use to sign a PDF? If that's what you're referring to, no, you don't have to have one of those. You don't need that at all. There was a time many moons ago where in order to have a GSA schedule, you had to have this digital certificate thing, which I really think it was a way to have these two companies on getting contracts, kind of like the broken ice cream machines, because it came out that these this is what I heard. This is what we heard at Kizzy News Network, that the company who provides the ice cream machine, they get a large sum of money for the repairs, and somebody else came out with some device to decrease the need for repairs. But then the company that's getting the money for the repairs has kind of put the kibosh on the company that wanted to decrease the malfunctions. You know what I'm getting at, right? So that's what I think was happening back in the day with GSA schedule. Okay, cool. No, you don't need that certificate at all. And thank you, Michelle. You've been watching your videos. You make the process so simple. Thanks for sharing. No, thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you being here. This is an impromptu Kizzy News Network. How the government shutdown could impact you and your family. And remember, it's not all negative. It's positive too, because people are going to go crazy. They're not going to bid. They're going to say, F it, I don't want to do this anymore with the federal government. And guess what I say? That's great. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to be in this space as long as God thinks and believes, feels I should be in this space. That's all I can say. Because for those of you who don't know, my name is Dr. Kizzy Parks. Been ordered $50 million government contracts, and I have several government contracting companies. So I'm going to take off. You all are amazing. Thank you for the safe travels, warm wishes. And check out profitablecontracts.co/free. Check that out. If you haven't already, make sure you go to winnerswaybook.com. If you haven't, be on the lookout for more amazing things coming out. Is today the full moon? Oh, man, I have to do a special ceremony. Oh, look at that. Maserati's offering lunch. Ooh, that's fun. Lunch is always fun. Okay. And MD, I don't know if you're still on. Give you a shout out. Give Melody a shout out. MD, Melody's my team. I wouldn't be able to be here if it weren't for them. Okay, bye, you all. Take care. Everything is possible. Hit the notification. Share, share, share. Bid, bid, bid. That's right. In Jesus' name. Love each and every one of you. Everything is possible. Take care, y'all.